Hello, sixth graders. Today we're going to be working with coordinates and geometry. So we're going to kind of combine them both into onto a coordinate grid. So let's take a look here, just a little refresher. Here's an ordered pair. You have your x and you have your y. Okay, x comes first, y comes second, just like in the alphabet. Okay, but how do we know which one of these is the x? Because we're not always going to have this part labeled right here with the x and with the y. So this is what I've done to remember it in the past. You kind of do what helps you memorize it best as well. If we have a taxi, taxi has the letter X in it, okay? Taxis drive on flat land. This line right here will always be your x-axis, unless you have a bump there. That is supposed to be straight, okay? This line right here will always be your x-axis, okay? So you're thinking, which one is it? Is it one that goes up and down, or is it one is it the vertical line, or is it the horizontal line? It's the horizontal line because taxis have an X and taxis drive on land. The next one, we have airplanes. Airplanes like to fly. Okay, some of you will probably say, well, they can go on land too. They take off into the sky, kids, okay? Now you're probably wondering, which one of these is my y-axis? Well, airplanes go up and they also come down and land, so this would be your y-axis because airplanes like to fly. That's how I remember, and fly has the letter Y in it. So that's how I can remember Y is up and down, and X, because the taxis, is left and right. Today, we're going to be plotting some points, okay? We're going to be taking a look at some things, and you're going to be doing this in your math journal today for some extra practice. So really watch closely on how I do this, so it's a lot easier for you when you do it on your own. We have this grid right here. We have to make a right triangle, you see how I said, using A, B, C. And we have to decide where C is going to go. Well, first of all, if I have point A and B, it's right here. If I am making a right triangle, I have to make it over here somewhere. So I'm going to make my point right here. So I'm going to see if I can do this without moving this too much. I'm going to have my point be right here, okay? And I'm going to connect this with two lines, because that's what you have to do with a ruler. And I'm going to have to name this point right here for my vertex, okay? So my first letter is an X. My second one is a Y for my ordered pair. So my x-axis is this horizontal line. Right here would be a -4 is where it's at on the x-axis. So I'll have a -4. That's a 1, a -4. And then let's see how high it goes. It goes up to the 2. It's a +2 for my y. I can just write a 2. Let's move on to the next one. Now we're making a parallelogram using vertex D, E, F, G. So D, E, and then F and G is where we have to name them. So first of all, I'm just going to connect these two right away so I know where we're working, okay? Second of all, I'm going to have to decide where is my F and G going to be. Let's put our F right here, okay? And to understand how we're able to decide this is we're 2 over and we're 3 down. So I'm going to make my F right here. So I'm 2 over and 3 down, just like that. And then I'm going to connect. So I'm 2 over and 3 down. See, 3 spots down. And then I'm going to connect right here. So there is my parallelogram. I'm going to name this one F. I'm going to name this one G. Well, what is F right here? Well, F for my x-axis is right here. It's a 3. It's a +3 because x comes first. And my y-axis, it's a +10. For my G, looks like my G is at a 1 on my x. See, here's the x. It's a 1. And it is at a 7 for my y. And that is my parallelogram. Let's move on to the next one. I need to make a scalene triangle using H, I, and then J. Well, here's HI right here. So I'm going to connect those two right away. And a scalene triangle is 3 sides that are different lengths. So let's just kind of connect all the way to, let's go all the way down here. We'll connect all the way up. We'll name this point J. Let's see where point J is at. It's right here. So on the x-axis, it's a 7. Right here is a 7. So we have a 7 here. And the y-axis, it is below into the negatives. It's in this quadrant. It's a -1. Please pay close attention to how I'm doing this, because take a look. It's right here. All I do is, right here's my dot, and I go all the way over here. Right here is a -1. Right here's my dot. I come up here. There's the x. X comes first because taxis go on land. Horizontal. Y, because airplanes like to fly. There's a scalene triangle. Next one, I need a kite. We all know what a kite looks like. We like flying those, okay? So I have KLMN. KL, I need an M over here, N. So I'm going to connect what I have right away. And once again, kids, you're going to be doing the same exact thing in your workbook. So keep that in mind. So I need to put, and it looks like an M over on this side. Well, if I move down here, I go 3 spots over. So if I come down here, I have to go 3 spots over. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to connect right here. I'm going to connect right here. I believe I put that M in the perfect place. I'll put an M right here. Then I'm going to have to name this vertice. Well, I'm starting off with my horizontal line because X comes first. So it looks like this dot. I'll come right up here. Boom. That's a -2. Put a -2 right here. And then I'm going to take a look over to my y-axis right here. I'm a -3. I think it's pretty easy. I know I've been teaching this for so many years, and some kids really struggle with coordinates. A lot of times kids are like, it reminds me of Battleship, Mr. Green. And a lot of kids have played Battleship. A lot of kids haven't played Battleship. That game's getting kind of old now. What we have to realize is each coordinate has each spot on a coordinate grid has 2 things. So this first one is -2. We have -3. The last one, we need to make a square using P, Q, R, S. P, there's no Q, R, and S. So we're going to connect the ones we know. So let's get a little trickier. I like it. Okay. So right here, it looks like I'm down 3, over 3. Over here, I'm over 3, down 3. So here I'm going to have to go up 3, over 3. Let's see if that makes a square. I'm going to kind of go over what I just said there again to explain. Okay, I knew these, so this I went down 3, over 3 squares. Over here I went over 3 squares, down 3 squares. So then I realized, okay, I'm going to have to go up 3 squares, over 3 squares. Perfect, it's right there. And that is called a Q. And let's see how we label this one. Looks like I'm at an X. I'm a positive X. Or I have an 8, I should say there for my X. And over here I have a -3 for my Y. That's all I have today, kids. Hopefully this helps a little bit. And I went slow because I didn't want to rush, because it's really important that you at least can understand the X and the Y, that refresher, because sometimes kids struggle with that part of it. Then the next part is when you're making these shapes. This is all review too. I saw Mrs. Green teaching 2nd graders the other day, and they're learning these shapes too. So I know you've been taught it. Maybe you just need a quick little refresher. Hopefully this helps, and I look forward to working with you in math today.